Alright, what's up everybody? The Setup Man coming at you today from WWT, formerly known as Gateway. I still call it Gateway a lot of times. Driving a cup car in test session. This is a custom setup for you guys. I have ran high 32 2s, low 32 3s with this setup. So it performs pretty good, and I just ran it in an online lobby in a race, did 2 full fuel runs with it, and was really impressed with the fact that it did not get real loose on the long run. Now, I'm not saying it didn't get a little bit loose, because it's Gateway. That's just gonna happen. That's just a part of how the game plays. But I was really impressed that it was, it slid around a little bit, but by no means undrivable. So I said, when I saw it did that well online, I'm like, you know what, it is time to put this thing out there in a video. One thing about Gateway, or WWT, is it
keep hitting your mark.
There we go, 32.2. It really burns off the right rear tire. It's just, you can't avoid it. It's almost like that's the way the game is set up. I worked and worked to try to get the tire wear even, and by the time I got the tire wear even, I'd gone from running 32 3s to running 32 7s, so I just said, forget it. I was worried that burning the right rear tire off so much more than the right front, that would have a negative impact as you got later in the run and make it really loose, but it didn't seem to happen. Not even online, and a lot of time online is much looser than test session. So, yeah, was very impressed with how it handled through 2 full fuel runs online, and I've tested it multiple times offline. So got a 32.2 on video. Let's talk about how I get around this place now. Here we go. This is when I'm coming up to turn 1. I like to be out by the outside wall, and I am looking at that 3 mark right there on the wall, and a little bit before it, maybe a car length or 2 from where I'm at, probably about here I would guess, is where I am starting to brake, and I'm starting to brake and turn. Now, with the tires are new, you're carrying more speed, the car is tighter, I brake pretty hard here. I brake pretty hard, and I am on the brake almost to the middle of the corner, it seems like. Now, as I am braking, I start off kind of pushing down on the brake a little harder, then easing up, and then I am off the brake by the middle of the corner. As the tires wear, you're not carrying quite as much speed into the corner, the car turns a little better, I brake less and less as the tires wear more and more. I don't like to get down clear on the white line right there by those rumble strips. I just don't feel like it's a very natural arc. I don't feel like that's the fastest way around. So you saw how I ran it. I am probably half a groove off of those rumble strips, and about mid-corner when I get the car rotated, I am back in the gas, and especially on new tires, I am not easy on the gas. As soon as it's rotated, I am mashing the gas. One tip I will give you at WWT is these rumble strips. If you hit them, they will wear out the left side tires really quickly. They really will. So stay off the rumble strips. You'll have the left side burning way more than the right if you keep hitting the rumble strips. But again, I'm on the brakes probably almost to mid-corner. I'm off of them, or I'm off the brakes very, very short amount of time that I am off the brakes before I get right back in the gas in turns 1 and 2. It's almost like as soon as I'm off the brakes, I'm on the gas. Kind of get close to the rumble strips on exit, let the car drift out. There's a spot here on the wall where you can see the wall extends out. This is where I am at. I want to come out here and basically take advantage of where that wall juts out. So that's where I am drifting out to as I go down the back stretch. Now, as I come down the back stretch, turn 3 and 4 is very different. And when I'm coming down to 3 and 4, the mark I'm looking for is that green traffic light. And a little bit before it, and probably right about just before you get to this 3 marker here, is where I am lifting, and I am on the brakes, but not nearly as much as I am in turn 1. I'm probably on the brakes half as hard as I am in turn 1. And I'm off the brakes, and since it's such a sweeping corner, I do have to let the car roll a lot more. And when I say roll, I mean I'm not on the brakes, I'm not on the gas, either one. I kind of, I guess you would say, diamond it, where I let the car drift up a little bit more in the middle of the corner, and then I get back on the gas, and when I get back on the gas again, especially new tires, I'm on the gas hard, and I am trying to get down to the bottom by the time I get to where there's this break in the rumble strips, where there's a little entry to pit road. So what I'm trying to do is, to make sure I'm clear on this, I am back down at the bottom by here. I want to be down at the bottom by the time I get to the break, not in the rumble strips, not by the end of the break. Then I let it drift out here to the wall again. Same concept. I'm getting out to the wall right at the time I get to the point where this juts out here. One thing I do want to tell you guys as one other tip is when you are going onto pit road, it's hard to judge where pit road starts and where you have to be down to your minimum or maximum pit road speed. And I think it's 40 at Gateway. And the only way I found is if you see that wall up there, right about the time where that wall gets fully extended out and it's straight, that's about where you have to be. Don't look at that white line way up ahead of you, because the pit road speed starts long before then. So you're going to see as I'm coming up here about the time where I am at where that wall starts. Yeah, that's where you get kicked onto pit road. You got to be down to your minimum speed by there. Okay, so having said all that, let's look at setup. Few odd things here, but this is an odd track, so. Okay. Nothing crazy on the bump and rebounds. I've got my front weight and wedge exactly the same. I usually have them close, but I usually have a little more wedge than front weight. But this seemed to make the car, I guess you'd say, happy. It seemed balanced. It seemed stable here. Flat tracks, you usually do run a little bit softer rear springs, and this track is about as flat as they come, and that's probably the softest rear springs that I run anywhere. Lower rear springs will tighten the car up and keep it from getting loose, and that's a huge problem at Gateway, so I'm really way down on the rear springs. Like I said, this is probably as low as I run anywhere. Nothing crazy with the tires. I think the defaults were like 14 and 29 or 12 or something like that. So I went up a little bit because that would give you a little more straightaway speed, but I didn't go crazy on it. I don't want to go up a whole lot because it seems like that makes you slide more. Strange camber settings. I am even on camber, and almost always you run more left camber than right. But with this one, I wound up running even camber, and you would think that if you got just as much camber in the right side as the left side, that you would wear out the right side tire really quick. Believe it or not, but I'm actually wearing out the left front tire quicker than the right here. Now that could hurt you if you ever are in a scenario where you need to make a two-tire stop, but just with stages and race links and everything, it just, I don't think I've ever seen a time where you had to make a two-tire stop at Gateway, but that could hamper you a little bit. Now, considering that it's the rear tires that burn off and not the front, you might still be able to go with two tires if you needed to, because it's not your front tire that's going to wear out, it's the rear one. But just be aware that the left front is probably going to wear more. Nothing crazy with the front sway bar or the track bars. Brake bias, I went down and it seemed to work okay. I was fooling around with different things. If you're having trouble getting the car stopped going into the corner, go up on that brake bias, run it, low to mid 80s, and see if that helps you get the car stopped a little better. Wheel lock, I went really far down on the wheel lock. A lot of times I'm running probably a 5 or 6 wheel lock, I'm running a 1. That seems like helps keep the car from getting loose, and the wheel lock has to do with how far left or right the tires turn when you turn the wheel. So if you turn the wheel all the way to the left and your wheel lock is at a 12, the tires are going to turn at a really severe angle to the left. If you run a wheel lock of a 1 and you turn the wheel all the way to the left, the tires aren't going to turn at as much of an angle. It seems like that helps, like if you're maybe late in the run and you're sliding the car and then the front tires catch traction. Well, if you catch traction and you got the wheel turned all the way to the left, at a severe angle, it's really going to jerk you left and make you loose. At a lower angle, it's not going to jerk as much, and you're not going to get really that effect of getting loose when the tires catch. What else? This is a 3-gear setup. 125 with a 310, that comes out to, I think, a 3.87. You will be hitting the rev limiter at the end of the front straightaway. Now, I like this gearing because my RPMs don't drop as low in the corner, so I have more drive coming off the corner. Now, if you don't like that and you don't want to hit the rev limiter at the end of the straightaway, you can run a 4-gear setup and run a 3.82, and you probably won't be hitting that rev limiter. But again, I'll sacrifice that little bit of speed at the end of the straightaway so that I can have a little more drive off the corner because the RPMs aren't dropping as much. So that's all I got. That's my WWT setup. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. Hope you like it. Hope you run lots of fast laps with it and win lots of races. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a